in introducing Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak Schwei, who's going to make the Aschole in Leilu Nishmas of his father, Rabbi Yosef Schwei. I cannot forget, every year Rav Schwei would come to this hall, and he would talk, and every year without fail, the central point of his talk was always his kashrus, that we have to learn the Rambam because then we are going to be mekusher to the Rebbe. This was his point every single year. He said many other things, but this was his point. There's a saying in Yiddish that you have to help Klal Yisrael, but you have to help Rebbe Yisrael. Rabbi Yosef Schwei was the kind of Rov that worried not only for Klal Yisrael, for the entire community, but worried for Rebbe Yisrael, for each individual person. Anyone who came to Rabbi Yosef Schwei, a man, a woman, a child, he gave him the fullest attention. And he had all the time in the world, as if this was the problem that he is busy with. He never said, make it fast. You know, somebody likes a little bit to talk, and that happens. Somebody is troubled, and it takes time for them to unload their troubles. Rav Schwei had all the patience in the world. He took care not only of the community, he took care of also of Rebbe Yisrael. It is our pleasure to introduce his son, and it's a great schus for Rabbi Schwei to have wonderful children and have a son who is a shliach, and he's a shliach in Luton, which is outside of London, and we're going to introduce Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak Schwei to make the haschole in honor and in memory Leilu Nishmas, his father, the Rov, the mother, the Asre of Crown Heights, Kansivu Hashem Besabrocho, Rav Chosid, Rabban Yosef Schwei, Zichreinu Livrocho. Rav Schwei, bitte.
In Crown Heights, the fast didn't start. You can certainly say Good Yom Tov, and even here in England, where it's already daybreak, and the fast started at 1 o'clock in the morning, we say Good Yom Tov, and we hope Yehafchu Yomim Elu v'sasnu al simcha l'meidim tovim. This is based on the Gemara. Abaye would say when a Talmud Chacham finishes Masechta, I make a Yom Tov for the Rabbanim, and certainly over here when thousands and tens of thousands finish not only Masechta, but 14 Svarim. Mazel Tov to those that learned Rambam already, Aboim Chasa'acha 39 times, and are starting the 40th time. The significance of 40, Leikoimin Shadait Derari Adaboin Shnin. Mazel Tov to those that learned the Rambam throughout the year, the last year. Mazel Tov to those that learned the whole Rambam throughout the last 3 years. Mazel Tov to those who finished Sefer Mitzvahs. We can certainly make a bracha. Shechianu v'kimanu. The Eibishter gave us the koyach to learn the whole Rambam another time. This is certainly a Yom Tov Rabbanan. The Siyem Harambam is not only giving the Rebbe covered, giving the Rambam covered. It's the way the Rebbe emphasized that the Ike reason for celebrating the Siyem Harambam is to add strength and encouragement into the quantity and the quality of learning of Rambam, especially when the Siyum Harambam of Shleisha Prakim and Gimel Prakim come together, and there are many who learn Perek Echad are going to start learning Gimel Prakim, and many who learn Sefer Mitzvahs are going to start learning Perek Echad. I am very grateful to Rabbi Butman and the organizers of the Siyum who have given me the privilege to start the 40th cycle of Limud Rambam in honor of my father. And truthfully speaking, it's needless to say how my father was devoted to the learning of the Rambam, in spite of whatever time of the day it was, he just wouldn't go to sleep until he finished Limud Rambam. But the Siyem Harambam was something special for him. And it's known that the neshamas of 3 generations come down to simcha, specifically the own simcha. My father felt this was his own simcha, so it's definitely his Yom Tov. Nearly 2 years ago, when he suffered a cardiac arrest, and Baruch Hashem, he miraculously recovered from that. The day that he was able to come home was very exciting for him. Not only Kipshute, he was able to be home, but he was very excited that he was able to join the Siyem Harambam that was that day. In spite of the difficulty for him going up and down the stairs, in spite of my mother, sein gesund, doing her job, trying to protect him, trying to convince him, don't go. But be'emes, you couldn't stop him. This is what gave him chayes. The haschala from the Rambam. Yisoides v'amud ha'chochmes leida sheyesha motzirishin v'mamtzi kol nimtza v'chol nimtzoyim mishamayim v'aretz mashvineim lenimtzu elamamitas himotzei. The foundation of all foundations and the pillar of all wisdom is to know that there's a primary being who brought into being all existence. All the beings of the heavens, the earth, and what is in between them come into existence only from the truth of his being. If one would imagine that he does not exist, no other being can possibly exist. About 10 years ago, Tafshinayin, my father pointed out the advantage of these words, the beginning of the Rambam, over the end of the Rambam, where the Rambam says, so there's something there. There's something under the water. The water is covering up. And the world will be filled with knowledge, covering up the other Metzias. But over here, the Rambam is saying that there's no Metzias in the world besides the Eibishter. There's nothing exists in the world. The Rambam starts with the Yin of Einoid Mulvadei, and then he goes in with what the Rambam calls Havayas Abai Berova, the discussion of Abai Berova, the details. That is what a Chassidish Rov is. First, a Chassidish, and then Rov. Not the pshat that you take a Rov and you make a Chassid out of him, but it's the Chassid is first, and then he's a Rov. Chassid is before the halacha. Last week we learned from Pirkei Avos, Arba Midas B'deis. There's 4 different types of temperaments. The one that's kosh shalichas v'neach li'otzis, difficult to anger and easy to appease, is a chassid. My father was a kosh shalichas, difficult to anger. I remember he used to work checking the Likutei Sichos in the Lamids. He used to work in this for many, many nights before he went into the Rebbe. Sometimes he stayed up nights. I had the schus of helping him opening up the Sfarim to the right Marmakemis, piling them up, and then putting them back. In the morning, on my way to yeshiva, I had to take this envelope and drop it off in Vad Lafot Sichos. One time, I took the envelope a bit too far. I took it with me to yeshiva, and I got to yeshiva. I didn't want to take it back right away. It was davening. I thought I'll take it back after davening. I put it on the table, but I forgot about it completely until I got home. And my father asked me, what happened to the envelope? And I realized I forgot. He didn't get angry with me. He just told me, he asked me, let's go to yeshiva. Help me find it. And that's etched in my memory. How there were things that most people would get angry about after working so many hours and should get lost. But he didn't. My father once told us that he accepted the Rabbanus because he really enjoyed, he had a pleasure, kind of, to help other people. And Taka, he didn't just answer shaylas. He was listening to the shaylas in such a way that the one who was asking felt important, that he's asking a good shayla. He taught the emunah and the Eibishter and Yir Shamayim in a wonderful way. I remember once in Yeshiva in Ocean Parkway, there were some Russian children. They used to come to Ocean Parkway just for the secular department, for the English, and that day the teacher wasn't there. So they were hanging around my father's class, and I was in the room as well. After the shir, after the Gemara shir, we still in Gemara Legis at that time, my father called over these two Russian boys. He was talking to them for a couple of minutes, and I asked him, what was that all about? You know, they were not part of our class. And so he said he heard them speaking in Russian during the shir. They were saying things which Jewish boys shouldn't be saying. So he explained to them that it's not good to speak like that. I thought to myself, these poor kids, they didn't realize that my father knows Russian. So you told him that you know Russian? He says, no, I didn't. So how did you know? He said, I explained to them that whenever a Yid does something or says something wrong, it leaves a reishim in them. It leaves a mark in them, on their face. So I asked him, why can't you just tell them that you know Russian? He says, I wanted them to be careful, that they shouldn't speak like that, even when there's nobody else in the room, when there's only the Eibishter. And this is how he taught the Indian from Emunah and the Eibishter. Doing something wrong leaves a reishim and Yir Shamayim. That was his whole life. Havaya Echad, Einoid Mavadei. When the Rebbe was stirring him about Shlichus, he wrote that he wants to go on Shlichus, and the Rebbe told him to be Shliach da for his work in Chinuch. But Chutz Mizeh, besides that, he used to go Mitzrayim regularly to the airport. He used to go with Rabbi Yitzchak Nemes, Alav Shalom. He used to go with Rabbi Matal Chen. One time, I'll conclude with this. He met this young couple in the airport, and he asked the husband to put on tefillin, and he didn't want. So his wife said, "I'll put on tefillin. I do it in my temple." So my father asked her, "Which arm do you put the tefillin on?" So she says, "The left, of course." So he asked her, "Does your right arm get jealous from your left arm?" She says, "Of course not." Well, in that case, he explained to her that her husband is like her right arm. Her husband is her left arm, and she's the right arm. And her husband needs to put on the tefillin. And she was actually quite pleased that she was compared to the right arm. So she convinced her husband to put on tefillin. He should join, my father should join us, not only in the Siyem Harambam, but in the Siyem HaGolus. When Yehofchu Yomim Eilu L'Sasin L'Simcha U'Lemeyedim Tovim, it's Galus Malteinu Mishechenu, with Yom Tov.